In an interview with Advocate Mashia, he highlights issues of transformative leadership in South African schools. An invite was sent to Mr. Moloi, the former principal of Igagasi Primary School. The invite was agreed upon and an audio interview was accepted. Prior to the interview, an ethical clearance document was signed and also agreed upon. Biographical information. The transformative leader identified is Advocate Mashia Moloi. He is a 53-year-old male and was the former principal of a school in Ekurhuleni, Gauteng province. He has been in the field of education for the past 29 years as a teacher, a head of department, a deputy principal, a principal, and an IDSO, which is an institutional development and support official at district level, and currently he's working as a coordinator of the examinations irregularities at the head office. The school, Igagasi Primary School, is situated in a predominantly black township of Ekurhuleni. The school has a staff of 58 teachers, 2 administrators, and 4 cleaning staff members. The school enrollment has 2,234 learners in total. Historically, South Africa faced numerous issues of defective leadership and oppression. Post-1994, the country has attempted to address the leadership and management problems in schools. The face of school leadership today is typified by individuals who are influential union members and politicians and are later appointed as leaders of institutions. This article reports on qualitative research using interview as a method of data collection with a transformative leader in the south of Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa. The contributions of this article consider the notion of leadership in the 21st century, what is meant by transformative leadership, and the current social injustice present in education, and the possible interventions to address social and academic improvements in South African townships today. This report reflects on the leader's intervention strategies in addressing the dichotomy of leadership and management in the institution and the systems that were put in place to address the school's dysfunctionality. The academic theory I draw on is from the Critical Pedagogy of Transformative Leadership by Faraya, presented by Miller, Brown, and Hobson, 2011. The article endeavors to attend to the leader's application and utilization of Faraya's 5 dialogical tenets of transformative leadership, in addition to addressing issues of social justice in education. According to Pel-Ramal, 2014, transformative leaders unsympathetically scrutinize political and educational institutions that maintain social inequalities with the ultimate intention of transforming them. She further postulates that transformative intellectuals are entrusted with upholding deep values for democracy, social justice, equity, non-racism, non-sexism, Ubuntu, and a society that is open and accountable and that respects the rules of law. The purpose this leader has been identified and selected as a subject of this interview report is based on the history of the school prior to his arrival and how the school has transformed in management and academic performance of the learners and how it has influenced the community positively. As a newly appointed deputy principal coming from another institution, this transformative leader was challenged by issues of ungovernable subordinates that undermined the current leadership. A teacher in particular came to work only 10 days in a term, and the school constantly had to find a substitute teacher to replace her. The deputy principal took over the classes of this teacher, and when she decided to come back, she found that the school was functioning well without her. She demanded her classes back, but when not allocated any class, as it was a norm that she would be given classes and then be absent for 9 weeks. She reported for work daily during this period, and at the end of the term, she decided to take an early retirement. The school became governable. The learners were attended to. The school became a well-performing school in the district. The leader had to ensure that management strategies were implemented and subordinates understood the contextual factors and used these contexts to develop themselves. Every term, the leader would reward the staff for the hard work demonstrated throughout the term. He would organize retreats where the staff would be motivated by motivational speakers and engage in team building exercises. He states that the employees or the subordinates need to be given the opportunity to understand your vision as a leader and the rationale behind your leadership style in order for them to be your greatest supporters. The leader further postulates that the strength of a leader is his ability to lead and to motivate his subordinates, but also to manage them well. This transformative leader posits that the current violence in schools in South Africa is not a lack of discipline or lack of parental involvement, but it is a strong indication of a lack of management and leadership abilities in the leaders in South African schools. Mr. Moloi was later appointed as the principal of a high school. The school was an underperforming school and had major problems of drug abuse. He explains how the previous principal resigned because she could not cope with how the staff refused to take instruction and how the learners were unruly. The first thing he did on the first day was to introduce himself to the staff and observe how the school functioned. And on the second day, he called a staff meeting and allowed the staff to inform him of how they wanted the school to function. The next day, he called a meeting with the School Representative Council, the SRC, and they voiced their concerns and how they desired their school to be. He held such meetings with the school governing body and with the community surrounding the school. And then he informed the staff, the learners, and the community that he would run the school according to the issues highlighted in those meetings, and he required their full cooperation. Within a week, the school timetable was sorted out. Therefore, no teacher had an excuse not to attend class. The shortages of teaching and learning material were brought by the school governing body. The school gates were locked immediately at 8 a.m. The security in the school was increased. The leader called this a cleanup operation, and over time, the school started becoming a well-organized institution of learning. He states that he experienced a lot of resistance and held on to what the staff and the learners stressed as important to ensure their school became a success. In accordance to Ferreira's dialogical tenets of transformative leadership, the leader found that the following 3 tenets resonated with him the most, namely, humility. Humility describes what a leader should possess in order to be successful. He states that leadership is the ability to be humble enough to receive criticism and suggestions from subordinates without being defensive. Critical thinking. Critical thinking is ensuring that there is pre-planning before execution and ensuring that a proper system is in place to address the contextual factors in the organization. And finally, solidarity. Solidarity states that leadership is the ability to bring people together who come from different backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives with the sole purpose of empowering them to collectively achieve organizational goals. We learned through this interview that it is a social injustice performed by South African schools when learners are expelled out of school because of ill discipline. It is the responsibility of the school to teach learners on ethics, character, morals, and integrity. This is Motebele.